Hey everyone, it's Evgeny back again and welcome to the third episode of our Windsurf Big Testing. So the first two episodes, they were about, the first one was about creating a $1 million app from the scratch where we let the AI agent to create and generate everything. And the second episode was about testing another bit different approach when we had the list of possible tasks and we test how different aspects like refactoring, creating unit tests, modifying the code work on already existing project. But today is different, and today we are going to look at how to create a proper application, Java application from the very beginning, very scratch. So it's really from the scratch because we will start from an empty folder, completely empty without anything, and then we will try to progressively doing step by step create a real app. This will be a RESTful API web service. Let's call it a task manager, but that's not so important at the moment, right? But in general, it will be a RESTful service, and in the end, it will be persistent data to real storage, like MongoDB, for example. And the task could be quite lengthy, so most probably we will split it into 2 or 3 parts and try to progressively moving forward with this stuff and see how Windsurf behaves on our tasks and if it helps for us or not. And it's not about Windsurf itself, right? It's more about this idea that AI agents are on the market, and there is a big question if they could take our job at the end of the day. So this is more testing in this direction, and well, let's dive in. Okay, so we have an empty project. This is an empty folder, completely empty. And today we are going to create something from scratch. We will try to create a RESTful API application, and in this session the goal is to create only API parts, so we will have the proper RESTful API, and this is a task manager, and we do have some basic CRUD operations on the tasks, and maybe we can get the list of tasks and do some filtering, pagination on the list, etc. But in general, we are not persistent then because, well, the session would be very long then, and we will stop on a state where we have everything in memory, or maybe we would load all the files like as a dummy data from the file, but the REST API part will be like a real one. Alright, this is the first task. We need to create a structure for a very typical Spring Boot application, and it will be MVC Spring Boot, so we do have a controller. We need that, well, we need this dummy controller because it's very tricky. If you ask the Windsurf to create the whole app, there is a lot of uncertainty. So instead, we're going to try do it step by step. It was a very small step, just progressing very slowly. And the first step would be just to have the application, the structure, all the dependencies, the very minimum one, and the very dummy controller. So we already can run the app and see that it works. Alright, it says that the endpoint name would be health for some reasons, and it's available on localhost 8080, and it even offers the build a project, and I hope next step would be run it and test. Alright, nice, it was clever enough. So I'm running the app, and I'm triggering the curl. Alright, everything seems fine. We do have the oak, but let's take a look at the sources. Let's start from POM XML. So what do we have here? The package structure is correct. It's com grablack, and it's the artifact name is task manager. and the package structure is correct, the same as I entered. What else do we have here? We are starting from Spring Boot parent POM. We are using Java 17 for some reason. I don't know why, but let's keep it like that. And we have very minimum of dependencies. We do have the Spring Boot started web, since it's a web application, and we have Spring Boot Maven plugin for running the app. And here we have an application, and this is a Spring Boot application. Everything's pretty standard here. I can run it if I want, but I asked already my AI agent about that. And we do have a controller which returns, well, it's a /health, and it returns us OK. And this is exactly what we see here. So everything looks good. Let's accept all the changes. All right, now let's work out the idea and give this information to the Windsurf. And for that, I'm going to chat mode, so it's not trying to implement something just right out of the conversation. And let me formulate the idea. Or maybe we do need a state, so we can distinguish between different states. It's not like finished and unfinished, but something like not started, maybe in progress, I don't know, pending. So it could be even more, right? So what's the task? We want the AI agent to think through all this information and create for us maybe a list of attributes. So we are starting working on domain for the application. And we want AI agent to propose us a list of possible attributes that could be part of this domain task object. All right, there are a lot of suggestions. Let's quickly take a look. We do have ID name, description, due date, status, with some different statuses. We have a list of tags, and the proposal would be to have create add, update, start date, completed add. Priority is urgent, true or not, but it could be combined, right? It could be priority value here like urgent. Organization. Let's try to add something. We are definitely not going to create very overcomplicated systems, so let's add. Okay, let's add. I'm picking priority. See, and this is the problem, like we are in a discussion phase and it already started to creating something which I never asked, okay? All right, looks good, right? We have created and updated. It added, created and updated. I never asked for that, right? That's interesting. That was in the list of proposals, created and updated. Windsurf decided that I still need these fields. Okay, no, please remove them. All right, now it looks good, but you need to keep an eye on it, right? Because if you just apply everything, you will get something at the end. That's as a rule. All right, it's time to create something. So let's switch to writing mode and do the task. All right, and this is another drawback I saw. It says I'm adding GPA dependency. I never asked for that, and we are working on domain, so it's technology agnostic at this moment. Let's see how it looks. Okay. Wow, we have Lombok already, and we do have this Spring Boot started data GPA, which we don't want. Alright, probably that was my fault. I should have mentioned this, that I need a simple purge instead of letting the Windsurf to guess what I wanted, but well, I don't know. Normally, like, your expectation would be always that it's trying to accomplish the task the easiest way, right? Not trying to add, I don't know, spaceship on the top. Alright, what do we have here? We have 4 files. Pom is still here. Was there? I don't see any changes, and well, it's 0, 0, but it keeps it here. Interesting. Anyway, let's check domain. We do have a task, which is a public class, and we have setters, gathers here. Maybe we should reuse Lombok, or maybe use record for that. Let's give it a try. We do have an enum with the priorities, with statuses, and everything looks okay, right? Oh, let's ask a question. All right, and see, it's interesting. Like, one thing you need to keep in mind, you hear a lot of sayings that we don't need developers anymore. Everything will be done by machines, by AI. But look at that, it doesn't know what to do. Like, it performs a task, and then you ask something, wouldn't that be better? And the machine replies, yes, you're right, it would be much better. But I'm even not sure if I ask, wouldn't be better to migrate back to class instead of record. Well, I have a feeling it would tell me, well, you're right, let's move back. So it's a really interesting situation. Anyway, there are some hints. It created a factory method for me, create new, where I can take everything. Let's fix something here anyway as well. I don't like this nose. Maybe we should provide something. Let's try and direct the agent to somewhere. Let's see. Okay, why status is changed? It's the same. Interesting priorities here. Okay, let's accept everything and try to build a project, because this is very necessary stuff, step after every more or less big change while working with AI agent. All right, everything looks good. We can continue on the project. What's next? We do have our domain objects, and maybe we should start from the other side. Let's think about API specification. So we do have a domain, and we need to create API specification for this domain. So let me formulate the task for AI machine. And probably just predicting what could happen, I'm going to forbid edit any new dependencies, because what I wanted to create only a Swagger file specification, which I can double check on a website, and that's it. I don't want to have any classes, any new objects created, any new dependencies, so it's very important for me. All right. Let me make a bit bigger everything and let's double check. So what do we have here? We have a new file in resources API. It's called OpenAPI YAML. And let me copy paste it. So this is what was generated. We have API, we have a version 1. I never asked for it, but anyway, let's keep it like that. We do have a task, and here we have an ID, which is your ID, name, description, due date, status, in enum. It's not shown. Oh, it's here. Priority and tags. Max item, 10 tags. Okay, let's keep it like that. And we have create task request, which looks very similar, right? And update task request, which is another task object, and page task response, which is content, total elements, total pages, size page, and content is list of tasks. All right, let's try to simplify it a bit because it's still a workshop, not a real app. And I can see that update task request and create task request and task are more or less the same. Let's use task everywhere. So we don't need to have this object. And we don't want to have this one as well. All right, let's accept everything and double check it again. So here we have the single task, we have page task response and here, I never checked it, code message and details. And we can create a new task, so we're providing the task body here and response is correct, created with the task as a response body. We have get tasks with pagination and we can say here status, one of the enum values, priority, tag, due before, due after. Well, let's remove that as well. Page, size, sorting, okay, and direction. All right, maybe we should remove this too to make it simple, and maybe, well, it's a really good question, like do we want to have sort as a single field? Because if I define sort but don't define direction, what should be taken? Maybe let's combine these two together. Okay, so this one and that one, we don't need them. And that's a filter, right? Let's do the two changes at the same time. And it was combine sorting and direction. All right, let's double check. Okay, we have status, priority tag, page size, sort. I don't see full text search. There's another endpoint for that. That's interesting. No, I would prefer to have it here like as a filtering option. It would be more API, open, RESTful API style. Let's remove that as well. And you know what, I'm pretty sure, like, if instead of writing I don't like something, I will ask, what do you think if you would better move the search to the get list of tasks endpoint, the reply would be, yes, I agree with you, you're completely right. But why it didn't do this in the first place? This is the open question for me. All right, what do we have here? We have search. Okay, it's full text search query. That's fine. And sorting is now in a bit different way, and there are every single possibility here listed. Okay, we have due date, name, priority status. Okay, let's leave it like that. And responses, we do have a content, and we have total elements, total pages based on the page size and page number. Okay, let's leave it like that. Okay, I think our Swagger API definition is ready. Let's proceed to the next step. All right, it's time to create a new controller that would serve and process requests regarding the according to OpenAPI YAML or this Swagger API. Let's formulate the task. Look at that. It learns from its previous mistakes. It knows it now. Okay, it's better to double check it and build. Wow, we even started. Okay, let's see where it goes. Huh. It stops here, right? So what should I do? I should tell about that. Report the problem. Okay, would you like to test any specific endpoint? Let's first take a look at what was created. Okay, what do we have here? We have create a task, response entity task, and it just gives back something. We have get tasks, which is map of string and objects for some reason, and it should be something different, I guess, right? Response, content, pages, dummy tasks goes to content, and dummy task is a list of tasks. Well, maybe it's better to have specific DTO object, and maybe it's proper time to introduce this one. Let's ask AI agent, and I'm guessing I know what would be the answer. All right. And see, that's exactly it. It says yes, 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 yes. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Windsurf. Thank you. Okay, let's continue reviewing it because it's very important with this thing. We do have a dummy task. We create with some name, description, date, task priority, list of tags. That's fine. This post mapping, we return a task that was created, kind of, because it's a dummy response still. We do have paged response. What's that? Okay, we have a DTO and page response, which is list of T. Well, okay, total elements, total page size, all right. Maybe one thing. Again, I will ask the same question. And it says yes, absolutely. Who would expect something different here, right? Okay, let's continue with review. Again, going back to controller. And we do have paged response DTO of task. I'm not sure if we have to use that. Maybe it makes sense to, like, how many other page response DTOs we would have in this application, but well, Let's be a bit generic here. And we get list of dummy tasks from the task we created, and then we have a couple of another tasks. Well, okay. And then we are returning new page response detail of dummy tasks real. Okay, and size and page. All right. All right, let's keep it like that. Get task by ID. We always return okay, and we are not processing any errors like not found or something. It's interesting. Okay, anyway, let's keep it like that. Update the task, it's also fine, and we have a removal. Okay. Okay, let's keep it like that. Let's do a bit of refactoring now. So what should we do first? Let's accept the changes. That's the important thing. That's important thing. Okay. What's happened here? What's happened with you? Well, I found a bug. See this? It's not functioning at all. Interesting. All right. What kind of refactoring? First, we don't need health controller anymore, right? We created it only for testing that our app can be up and running and without any problems. So let's remove it. All right, no one wants this controller. But that's always a good idea. Let's rebuild the project because no one is sure that it will work after that change. But that was fine, luckily. Still doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, my session is broken. That's a question. Probably I can start a new session, but then I would lose all the changes, all the context from here. So probably I should stick in this buggy thing. All right, going back to refactoring, right? Let's think about task controller and work a bit on that one. So what's the idea? At the moment, we do have everything. Well, it's kind of a very small thing rather than anything, everything, but let's move all the logic into the service layer, and then we can extend it by providing some, let's say, more real stuff, okay? All right, another try to build everything, which was successful. Interesting. What do we have here? Separation of concerns. Yes, dependency injection, right? Interface segregation. No, we don't want this. Why? Well, because it's a very small project. Let's be on a simple side. Single responsibility. Each class has a clear single purpose. Yes, I don't like to have this interface. All right, let's build it. Anyway, removed, except still doesn't work. Probably died completely. All right, let's review it manually. We start from controller, and what do we have here? We have a, well, why don't you use Lombok for that, huh? Whew, another build procedure. Okay, let's continue on reviewing. We do have required arc constructor here. We do have, this is a final, that's nice. We have a create task, and this is from task service and create task method. Okay, We have get tasks, which takes a lot of parameters. We have get task by ID, update task. All right, delete. Everything looks good so far. Let's check services. And here we have task service, which is, okay, it's a dummy task creation, task by ID, update, delete. And get task is a bit more complex, but nothing much, right? Actually, it ignores all the parameters, I think. But that's good enough for us for now. All right, let's go back to controller because we are still in our refactoring mode yet. And let's think about what should be done as a next step. What I don't see here, if you'll let me close this one, we don't have exception, this kind of global exception handling at all, because, for example, if this get task by ID would throw an exception like not found or something, there is no way how we return 404 back to the caller. Or any, I don't know, runtime exceptions will not be translated properly to 500, right? And update task could fail as well. So this piece is missing. We need to add it. Let's do it. All right. It looks good here in the chat window, but who knows how it will be when we run our app. Let's give it a try. Okay, it seems there is another EDED. We didn't stop the previous session. I think this is a problem. Okay. All right, it looks good for 404. Let's check this validation error. Well, it didn't show me the request body, but anyway, it seems like bad request for 100. Page number cannot be negative. All right, it looks good, right? And it's pretty clever to generate all these test cases. We will check it later, how it's good to create unit tests, by the way. And too many tags, okay. What was that? All right, let's stop here with testing. Bad request. For some reasons, right, no one knows. Just invalid request body. Anyway, let's consider testing was successful. But we never checked what was the changes, right? Let's give it a try. It was a controller. Wait a second. So we have invalid task exception, runtime, task not found, runtime, specific one, right? And if I go to service, okay, throw get tasks. I just blindly put everything here as a validate task. Okay, maybe that's not the best idea, but anyway, the idea is clear, right? Okay, task not found exception equals, okay, it created just for testing. It's very interesting. For now, we'll simulate. We need to fix it in the future for sure. And we do have this global exception, REST controller advice, which is correct. And this is the way how it's happening in Spring, if you don't know that. So we are catching the task-not-found exception, for example, and we have a handler for that. And this one generates a response for us. It's a response entity with the status code not found with some message, and this will be properly, it will be translated to proper your response. All right. And this code is very clean, right? And it's very minimum and contains only the necessary stuff. It doesn't work again. What's wrong with that? Okay, it's still waiting for me. Okay, now it started to generate this stuff. Okay, let's check it. We have the class level, every single method has it now, right? All the parameters, throws, okay. And throws, that's interesting. It digs into the code, like the method itself doesn't throw anything, right? But it checked the getTaskById method and found that, okay, it can throw this to an exceptions and added it here. Well, okay. All right, nice. Let's try create a unit test for controller, and here my expectation would be that it should add some mocking because we are using task service. So this one should be mocked, and then we should have some test cases. Let's give it a try and see how it works. Okay, let's run the tests. Okay, let's run the tests. All right, all tests are now passing, and field name items in the test, but our use content. Nice. So that was it. Was it easy? No, it was not. You need to keep an eye all the time what the machine is doing, and sometimes it's not logical. Sometimes you ask for a change and it tries to make multiple changes that you even don't need to. And anyway, I mean, it's a good tool, but you need to keep an eye on that. All right, that was it for this episode, and you can make your own opinion on if it's a good tool or not. I still find it really helpful. Maybe one thing well, if you take this AI agent as your buddy, then it's a real question how you would communicate with it, because someone should stick to another one. It's like either the agent tries to help you and stick into your style of work, or you have to stick and adapt your behavior to what agent is doing. And for now, for me, it seems like it was my responsibility to change the way I was working to the way so agent better understands it. Like, for example, I should be very kind of programmatic. I should behave in a very programmatic way, let's say, like replicating what agent was doing. Like, for example, I had to review all the files again and again and again from every change we made together, and that was not so humanic and not so good. But anyway, make your own opinion, and we'll see each other in the next episode, where we will try to implement persistence layer and our service layer and combine all this stuff together. So see you, and bye bye.